Hey there, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and I'm on the road heading up to one of my favorite LCSs in the Baltimore area, Cards, Comics, and Collectibles. Now, you guys might know this as the shop that runs and owns the Baltimore Comic Con. They do a great job with that every year, and they have a great shop as well. They have tons of back issues, and I've spotlighted this shop on my channel before. And I've gone to this sale before, and I'm probably sure I've done shows on that as well. So the sale that I'm talking about is their big Easter sale. It starts on the Wednesday, and that's where I am right now, Wednesday morning, New Comic Book Day, heading up there for the first day of this big Easter sale. They have all of their premium books, talking about Golden Age, Silver Age, high grade, bronze, keys. Any of those are considered premium books. And I'm going up there. They got a 30% discount on all of those. As well as if you just want modern back issues, you can talk about 70% off of what they've got them listed for in the store. Toys are on sale, Funko's on sale, statues, trade paperbacks, hardbound, everything's on sale, sports cards. This shop has a lot of everything. Well, I'm going to go for this sale, and I've got some things I've already spotlighted that I'm going to be keying in on, because a couple days prior to this, I did go up to the shop. I did a little scouting mission to see what they had available, see what kind of big books they've got, see if I want to put money into them or not. Gave me some time after I took some photos of some items. Took some time, went back, did some research, and to see if they were going to be worth getting or not. Whether they're for the PC or for resale, it's one or the other. So I'm going to go up now. I will not be doing any filming in the store, because that is something that they've had an issue with, not necessarily at the store, but with other YouTubers at trade shows when they set up there. I don't want to worry about that. These are good guys. So I will not be doing any filming today, but I'll come back. I'll show off everything I pick up once I get home. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Many unbearable hours later.
All right, guys, I made it back home after the big sale on day one at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles, their big Easter sale. But I decided to hold off and film this part of it after the sale was completely done, because there was always a chance that I would have gone back up on the last day of the sale. But as it turns out, I did not go back. So what I got day one is what I got for their big sale this year. So let's get right into this. Let's do a recap real quick, and I'll talk about how big a sale this usually is for these guys. They have the sale like this twice a year. Once at Thanksgiving, once at Easter. Of course, this was Easter. And you've got all their premium books, Golden Age, Silver Age, their high grade, keys, all that. They could be modern books as well, but they're the premium books, right? And they were 30% off. Now, you had modern back issues that were not necessarily keys. Those were 70% off of what they had them listed for in the store. You had toys and Funkos and statues up to 50% off on most things. Paperbacks, hardbounds, all 50% off as well. And sometimes I go to this sale and I stock up on the big artist editions that they have available as well from IDW and some of the other places. And sometimes I'll get those. Sometimes I'll get some Epic Collection trade paperbacks from Marvel. It could be anything. Marvel Masterworks. Anything like that kind of is something I'm targeting. Well, this particular sale, I was only targeting some of the premium issues. And I did that only because they do run other sales during the year. A lot of other sales over their weekends. And they will do the trade paperbacks and hardbounds. They will do that sale quite frequently. So I didn't really feel the need to go in there and buy any trade paperbacks during this particular sale. I was going to focus completely on comic books, specifically the premium comic books. And as I might have mentioned earlier in the video, I did go up several days prior just to do a little scouting mission to see what they might have available. And I've done this in the past several times, and it's paid off in the past because I could beeline it right to that certain book I knew I wanted to get, and I could go find that book. And as I said, I may have mentioned the story earlier, but in one of the prior sales, there was a SpiderMan 194, the first appearance of the Black Cat, that I had targeted, and I was the second or third person in line, and I went right towards that book. But what I didn't know until I saw the person's hand literally inches behind mine, he was right behind me going for that exact same book. And in hindsight, I wish I hadn't picked it up because I paid way too much money for that book, but I felt like I had won a victory that day, and that's why I went ahead and got it. But nonetheless, I knew that if there's a book I want, and that's why I scout early on, I take pictures of it, I take pictures of the prices so I can go back and remember, and I can do some research leading up to this sale. And that's what I did. So I knew everything you see here is something except for one that I had already targeted several days in advance. And I kind of knew where to go get them. Well, I take it back. Maybe there was two, but nonetheless, most of these were ones that I was going to at least think about when I got there and give it another going over, make sure it was really in a condition I was willing to pay for, and also knowing what it was going to be with that 30% discount as well. So let's get right into it. So not only was this Wednesday sale, the start of this big Easter sale was Wednesday, so it's also New Comic Book Day. And luckily for me, there's not a lot of new comic books that came out this week that I really was targeting. In fact, most of the time, you know me, if you watch my channel at all, you know I go to Third Eye Comics down in Annapolis, Maryland, because they have so many different variants. Well, Cards, Comics, and Collectibles does a decent job with the new comics, but they don't carry the same volume as Third Eye. And this week was perfect because there really wasn't hardly anything. I honestly, except for one or two books, I couldn't care less about the new comic books this week because I had already pre-ordered most of them this week. My pre-order that I put in 2 or 3 months ago, I'd done a really good for the books that were coming out this week. So I didn't need a lot. But there was one book that I kind of wanted, and they did have a copy of it. It is the Summer of Superman Special #1. This, though, is the Alexander Lozano cover. And as of filming of this right here, it is super hot. It is on the top 10 list right now. People are going nuts over this cover. Now, Lozano is somebody that I discovered only about a month or so ago doing some really great artwork on covers through Unknown Comics. I've got, and if you watch the channel again, you would have seen that particular show where he did a beautiful Magic cover and he have a beautiful X-Men cover, Rogue. That Rogue cover, honestly, I like it better than this, but this right here is super hot right now. People are clamoring over this. It'll be interesting when I go back to Third Eye for another New Comic Book Day if they actually have any more of these copies. I doubt it at this point because once the word gets out on the internet, everybody knows about it, and this book will be highly sought after, I'm pretty sure. So that was the only new comic that I ended up picking up off the New Comic Book rack. But I did end up going through the regular back issues. These are the moderns that you get 70% off of what they have them listed for. And there wasn't a lot that I was looking for, but I did manage to go through the new Titan Comics with the new Conan the Barbarian series by Jim Zub, and I went and I picked up issue #6. Now I've got this issue by Jim Zub. This is a cover by Jay Lee. I think the interior art in issue #6 was still by Dettori, but I've got the colored version of this. I didn't have the sketch black and white cover, so I went ahead and picked this up, and mostly because I'm going to be going to Third Eye for Free Comic Book Day. Jim Zub is going to be coming in and doing a signing during the Free Comic Book Day, and I'm trying to pick out some of the best Conan books from this run. I mean, we're up to issue 20 now, just about. It's been working on it for the last couple of years, and this is a book I would love to get in there and get him to sign that because Jay Lee is actually somebody that comes to Baltimore Comic-Con, down to Heroes Con. He's somebody I can get another autograph from, and I can do a jam piece with at least the two of them on this cover right here. So that was the modern book I picked up. Now the rest of these are all from the premium section, and some of these can be completely for the PC. A couple of them are definitely going to be completely for grading and for resale. I mean, that is the intent on some of these, 100%. And I don't have any problem telling you guys that. I do this to help pay for other parts of the hobby. I spend a lot of money for my own personal collection. I need to sell a lot to keep that collection going. And also with Heroes Con coming up here in June, I know I'll be spending a lot of money on autographs. So if I can find books to invest in like this, high grade, whether the keys or not, if they've got a good value with a 9.8, 9.6 or whatever grade, and it has a good return on investment, man, I'll do it every day. And that's kind of what this ended up being. I didn't know what I was going to be finding when I went through Cards, Comics, and Collectibles when I did the scouting mission, but that's what this was all about. So let's get into it. These are the premium books, and again, it's going to be a mix of things I might want to keep personally as well. But let's start off really small with DC Comics Presents number 67 right here. This is Superman and Santa Claus. But this cover right here is just hilarious by Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. And this is a cover that I discovered last year when I was picking up a lot of his books for the signing down at, well, he was in Baltimore at the end of last year. And I was looking for other books by Jose to get signed. He's not getting any younger, so I definitely want to get some of these better covers from him. And I really love this cover. And this was not an expensive book to begin with. It was only, I think, $6, even though personally, I think it's only in the premium section because of the age, not because it's a key or anything, but this is a really silly, high-condition book right here. This right here, 9/8 go for about $135. But what I couldn't find was a signed 9/8 by Jose. Now, that might be a little bit more of a premium because I don't think there's a lot out there with him signing this book. But this is a great cover by Jose right there. Now, again, a lot of these books, as I said, are going to get graded, and I'm looking at the return value. But part of this is I'm also looking at the return on a blue label, but sometimes more specifically, the opportunity to add the creator's signatures can really bump up a price on something. So I also keeping an eye on the value of that as well. So it's twofold. One, I could do it just as a blue label, or I could do it as a yellow-black JSA verified, or for a signing, whatever. But so I'll give you some of the prices on some of these other books moving forward here. This is one that I would look to get signed if there is another Bruce Timm signing. I've already missed the one that Alpha Omega is doing. Well, I didn't miss it. I already sent stuff in, but that's already passed. But I would send this book in if they had another signing right now. It is Mask of the Phantasm. This is the Batman animated movie special right here. And this right here, I'm looking at prices. If I look away, I'm looking at prices I wrote down. 9/8 on this is only $103 to $160. Those are recent sale for Blue Label. But a Bruce Timm signed book right here recently went for $775, and that's why I would definitely save this for a Bruce Timm signing at some point. All right, moving forward to another book. I didn't think this was not on my radar. I knew about this book, but when I went there for the preview, or excuse me, for the scouting mission, I found this, and the condition looks really good. It is Daredevil number 11. This right here is the first appearance of the Muse, and of course we saw that on the recent Disney Plus TV series. The Muse was used on there as well. This is his first appearance. Good 9/8 right here. $300 to $386 Blue Label 9/8. 9/6s do just as well, $342 down to $200. So it does really well. But I'm looking at who wrote this, and this right here is written by Charles Soule and art by Ron Garney. And Ron Garney comes to Baltimore Comic Con all the time. And even though I had just seen Charles Soule at Third Eye Comics, he's actually going to be up at Philadelphia for the Fan Expo, and I will be going to that here in a month or so. And I will definitely look to possibly add his signature to this, save it, and hold on to it until I get a chance to get Ron Garney on here as well. So that might be something I do down the road. I don't have the prices on that, but the Blue Label alone would be worth it for sure. All right, I'm going to put these down. Don't want to damage any of these books prematurely. Well, prematurely, I don't want to damage them at all. All right, next book up is one that I had actually sent in to a Bruce Timm signing, the one I mentioned previously. I had broken out a 9/6 that I had gotten. We'll see if I keep that grade or not, but I sent it in for the Bruce Timm signing, and it's probably outside of Batman Adventures number 12. It's probably one of the most important Harley Quinn books out there, in my opinion. It is Batman Adventures Mad Love. This is second appearance of Harley, I believe, but it's also her origin. And love this book. As I said, I sent this in to the Bruce Timm signing. So I'm going to give you some grades on this. This was a very nice copy. I don't know if it'll meet that 9/8, so I included 9/6 grades as well. 9.8, Blue Label, 375 down to 325. 9.6, I've seen it from 160 to 111. It's actually down a lot since I had bought my 9.6 before. 9.8 signed, though, by Bruce Timm, $599. That's not that recent, but it is the most current price I had. 9.6, the only thing I could find recently within this last year or so was by Paul Dini, and it went for $395. So I think having a Bruce Timm autograph on here is probably the way to go, more than a Paul Dini. I don't know how you feel about that. I think obviously both of them on here would be fantastic. This is a book that, depending on what the grade on the other one goes for, I may stay in my PC or it may not. We'll see how we do on that. All right. Up next is a book that I had picked up at the previous sale at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles back in Thanksgiving. They had a whole batch of these, and I picked up another one of this, and it is SpiderMan, Amazing Spider-Man 183. This is from 1978. It is not a key. It's for maybe the second appearance of the Rocket Racer. Not a key at all, but really good condition. The scary condition. I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. Honestly, I wouldn't have picked it up if there had been ticks on this. This is a very nice copy, but it will definitely have to go into a 9.8 pre-screen. 9.8s do fairly good, anywhere from $149 recent sale up to $269. But 9.6s do drop down under that $100 mark, but I've seen it go from $77 up to $140. So I would definitely consider putting this one in as a pre-screen, possibly as a 9.6 pre-screen. And if it's a 9.6, then I might end up trying to sell it and just kind of get out of the book. But if it's a 9.8, it does pretty good. So again, I picked the same book up from at Thanksgiving. They had a whole batch. That one looked just as good as this one. I don't know why I didn't pick up both of them. I think it's probably because I was under a budget constraint at the time. Well, I'm always under a budget constraint. Who are we kidding? But I picked up a second copy of that for the potential on that. Now, this book right here, the second to the last book, is a book that I didn't see it when I did the scouting mission. But when I ran across it, I spent some time there on this Wednesday going through the boxes again, and I didn't see it before, but I found it this time. It's a book that I have been lucky enough to get a 9.8 on, but unluckily the price on 9.8s keeps coming down. And I keep hearing that the market's getting better, but I'm telling you, the market is still, on certain things, is still coming down. I mean, this book was close to $1,000. It had just been selling at $1,000 when I finally got mine graded and got it back in. Since then, it has dropped down, and now this book right here is down to, it literally, one had sold for as little as $535. That was an auction on eBay, but buy it nows are going for around that $750 mark. So I may have to lower my price on eBay, but it didn't stop me from picking up another spanking copy of Avengers 196, the first appearance of the Taskmaster. You've got this great George Perez cover and interior artwork. I mean, you can't ask for anything better for a first appearance than get a cover like this right here. Great first issue. Tell you something, the MCU movie kind of destroyed this character a lot. I love the character of the Taskmaster. It's just not what they had in the movie. We'll have to find out what it's like, what they do with that same character in the new Thunderbolts film. Personally, I hope they move on from the way they did the character in the Black Widow film, but probably not. We'll see how that goes. But that doesn't take away from how good this book is. I wouldn't have bought this book if it had had any defects that I could have seen, and it looks super clean. I'm looking forward to getting this into CGC very soon. All right, guys, I'm putting the books down because we're coming down to the last one, and you would think that this is the big mega key. You're waiting for this. What's the big book that you went? Well, I didn't go to the case by the register where they had all the premium. When I say premium, I'm talking about the keys, the gold or silver age. You had the books there. You had the early Hulks and Spider-Mans. You had the bigger books. Going to lay down a lot more money. And personally, I just wasn't interested in dropping that much more money. I don't mind making a little trip like this where I pick up a handful of keys. Some of them sell pretty good. Some of them for the PC. Nothing too serious here. But their last book is actually the one that I went in there and I picked up first. I didn't think anybody else would want this book, but it was the very first book I went in, beelined it, as I say, go in there and I pick this up, and it is not going to get graded. Mostly because I don't think it needs to be graded. I think the Mylar is going to be good at this point. And it goes into something I've been doing this last year, and you can literally see, I'm looking over my head there, and you can see another key from the same character right there. Let me show it to you. It is Walt Disney's Vacation Parade #2. And you're going, what the F is this, Russ? Well, I'm on a thing right now where I'm picking up key Scrooge McDuck books. You can see behind me, right up here, is his first, what is considered his first title. It's technically, it's, what is it? It's four color 386. Poor Little Rich Man. This is considered Scrooge McDuck #1. Big Key. This is a book that'll go into CGC at some point. You see this PGX grading right here. This will go into CGC at some point. But I picked that up earlier last year. At some point, I picked up the second appearance of Scrooge McDuck, and I'm still waiting to get that #1 appearance. That's going to be dropping a lot more money. But this right here is actually a key because it is the first cover appearance by Scrooge McDuck. You see him right here at the end of the parade right there. And it's funny, I see it listed as Go Collect actually, I take it back. It's not, they don't list it in Go Collect. They don't list it from CGC, but you go to Key Collector, and this is that's where I found out that this is technically the very first appearance of Scrooge McDuck on a cover. It predates this by a little bit. This came out, when did this come out? Of course, March of 1952. This right here is July 1951. So there you go. It's not a huge key. And trust me, this is not a high grade book at all. This is why it's not getting graded. In fact, I only spent about $35 on this. And it has got some big creases. Look at that up there. You got a big rip right there. You got the spine. That has definitely been, this has been a well-loved book. I did this more as a placeholder, so I could say I finally have this book. This is a book that I will be looking for in a much higher grade as we move forward, but for the time being, I'm super happy to have this in the PC. All right, guys, that is it. That is everything I picked up at the big sale at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles. If you guys want more information on them, definitely check out the link down below. I'll leave a link to their website. Great shop. They have great sales all year long, on the weekends mostly. But on Thanksgiving and Easter, they have this big, it's usually a 4-day sale that is just massive. They have this, it's the same discount on each of those sales like that. And it's when you can get the big books for 30% off. A lot of people go to this. It is very popular. But they are also the guys that run the Baltimore Comic-Con. I might have mentioned that at the very beginning of today's video. And I had to wear the shirt just to say that, hey man, I still support Baltimore Comic-Con. What a great con. I hope that when they come in October this year, it will be over my birthday. So I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing a lot of you guys come down to Baltimore. Fly in, let's go do dinner or something. I don't know. But I am going to be here, and definitely I look forward to seeing anybody who shows up in Baltimore this year. Anyway, guys, that is it for today. If you enjoyed today's video, definitely give me a like, slap that subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the episodes that I put out each and every week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 3 p.m. And guys, I definitely want to hear your comments about the books I picked up. What do you think about these, or these books that you would want in your PC? I'd love to hear from you. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great day, and until the next show, remember, every comic has a story.